everybody. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going over your last actual assignment for the trimester. On the last day I will have a short summative piece for you to do, so I'll make sure that you're going in on that, going into Schoology for that, because that will be your actual last thing. But this is the second to last thing in your last real assignment. So today we are going to talk about aging, and then you'll be working on this for the next few days as well. So it'll take you a little while. Looks a little long, but again, you should be working on it for a decent amount of time. So if you hop onto Schoology, you should see the notes on aging. You should also see this assignment, and I also do have a link on the assignment just to the same notes too. And so the first part of this assignment is really just these first 3 questions. I want you to just be thinking about what are 5 of the most valuable things in your life, and explain why they're important. So this could be people, this could be things, like objects, but it also could be things that you do, like a hobby, or just things you really enjoy. It can kind of be, it's nice to have a nice combination of those things, okay? And then I want you to take from those 5, and again, make them, these are the 5 most valuable things. Pick 2 of them that you would lose, and you have to pick 2. And don't make them just not important things either. It's not going to work, right? And then number 3, how might giving up these aspects of your life reflect the losses that some elderly people have to endure? So just be thinking about it, like, oh, if I was older, would I have to lose some of these pieces if certain things happened in my life? If I was older, or sometimes when people are younger as well. Okay, and then next I want you to do some research on some of the most common and fatal illnesses. Like if I'm looking on here in the notes, I'm giving you an overview of it. It talks about influences on elderly and aging, different types. Talks about just observable physical changes that people have, declines in sensory perception, like in how we process different senses, changes in hearing, and I'm just talking about a little bit more information on decline in hearing sensitivity. So as we get older, we can't hear as well. In particular, I've noticed higher pitched noises are harder also, and this is going to vary. For some people, if they listen to loud music, it's going to happen sooner if you're listening to loud music often. I know some people that hunt and they don't wear ear protection, and this can go much sooner also. So all kinds of variables with that. There's declines in speech perception, making it harder to hear. And it's like the tone and pitch, but also it can be if there's background noise, is often very difficult for elderly people to hear, even if they could have normally. And then we're looking at just percentage of adults with disabilities. And so we're looking at the higher age group, and we can see, it makes sense. The older we get, the more that you're likely to actually have a disability. Looking at causes of disabilities, we can have congenital, meaning occurring at birth. Accident injuries because of illness, disease, or just age-related. And kind of keep in mind that disabilities are not always obvious. You can't always see them. There are a lot of times what we call invisible illnesses. And then this is the stage where we're looking what are some of the most prevalent illnesses for people that are aging. And then we have some of the most feared conditions. So for people that are in that kind of, starting to age, what are some of the things that are the most scary to them? And some of these overlap a little bit. And so this is where we're coming back to this piece, is I want you to just do a little research. What is the definition of each of these? And what are some challenges? And this you might have to just think of, how could I help support someone that has this? Okay, so I'm going to do a little walkthrough, and I'll do the arthritis one, and you can just fill in the same thing I have for arthritis, and then you'll do the same thing on here. So I'm just going to go onto Google. Hop down here so you can see arthritis. Okay, and I'm going to look at stuff. This one, notice it says the CDC. Oh, CDC, that's like a government website. That's a good source. Arthritis Foundation would probably be good. Mayo Clinic. All of these look like good resources. Okay, if it's something Medicine Plus, I don't know much about that. Maybe it's .gov though, so it'd probably be fine. But if I get into some of the other ones I'm not sure about, don't use those resources. Try to like find Mayo Clinic or CDC, or if it's like it looks really reputable. Okay, so then we're going to look at types of arthritis, but we want more the basics. If there's different types, you can feel free to not do that unless you need to. And if you need to, you, what do you call it? I'm trying to think. If you need to, though, and it's like it won't give you any information and tell you, like, pick a type, then go ahead and just pick one and tell me. We'll just kind of run into that as a basic. Okay, so I'm looking it's interesting. We're looking for this, and I'm looking just for the basic definition, and I'm not finding it, but I'm going to type back on this, arthritis basics, and it just goes right here. It's on here. Arthritis is a general term for conditions that affect the joints, tissues around the joint, and other connective tissues. Okay, so that's our basic definition. And it won't let me just kind of plop it in there. So I'm just going to do general term for conditions that affect the joints, tissues, and around the joints. So I'll just type it in once I find my thing. Okay. Term or condition. Now I gotta go back because I forgot. Conditions that affect the joints, tissues, and around the joint. Move this over. Oh, and then I have just the worst memory ever. Oh no, and I exited out. Hang on, I'll pause and come back. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I accidentally exited out of the assignment. So I'm typing this in, general term for conditions that affect the joints, tissue around the joints, and other connective tissue. Okay, and that's all you need. You just need like that basic information. It doesn't have to be like a big, long, involved definition. Okay, and then challenges. Now I'm going to go up. Oh, let's see what I can see. Like what are some, it's going into ways to manage physical activity. So joint pain and arthritis, maybe that's a big one. So chronic pain. And you can have severe joint pain, persistent pain. Even children can get arthritis too, even though we're focusing on, what do you call it? Elderly at this time. But joint pain is like stiffness and pain is the biggest challenges. So I'm going to write, and I just know the stiffness. So if you're not seeing this, I would go and just do a Google search. Challenges. I'm just typing in challenges with arthritis. And see what pops up. So it says, usually long-lasting, course often predictable, pain, depression, excess stress. So that's what I could put. Activities limited. So sexuality can be limited. So there's stuff on here that I'm finding that I didn't know. And that's the whole point of doing this. And so it's just looking. So scrolling down. It's weird. So this would be a good resource. It's an EDU, OrthOp, Washington EDU. So this would be a good actual source. It's interesting. It tells me all that stuff, but then didn't put it in there. Protection techniques, coping with arthritis. It's so weird. Okay, so back on here, I would do stiffness, pain. I would put something like limiting activities. Can be lead to depression. Can even have, like we saw before, some sexual health issues. Okay, so I think that would probably be good. Okay, next is how to help or support. So And this is what I mean, like people that, like if you have someone in your life that has arthritis, how can you help a person cope? So it says, how can a person with arthritis cope? That's not what I'm looking for. So not the self-help skills, but how can other people actually help with it? And sometimes it's like making daily activities easier. Maybe it's like you can help them clean up. You can help them open things. And people can get arthritis, and a lot of times hands is common, so they have a really hard time like opening things with their hands. If you're not available or around them, there's devices that can make it easier. And so you can read a lot of these different options about what you can do. And just looking throughout. So let's look over lifestyle management. We could look at that. There might be some options in there. There could be physical. You could encourage them to go to physical activity programs that might help. It's looking at, you know, helping take them to, what do you call it? And so one of the things would maybe be take to doctor or meds, if that's an option. Okay, could do another one that's help open things, open items, help find assistive devices. Okay, oops, this should be assistive. Okay, so I'm looking, and I'm kind of know some of these, so I'm kind of sneaking ahead, but I'm just looking in. I don't want you to do like in the laundry and house cleaning, in the bathroom, in the bedroom. Okay, but these can help you find a few things. Like we could be loose fitting clothes. Like obviously we'd want to stay away from, like if someone's trying to like button or do something with their hands and that's really hard, do things that they don't need. So don't have them do like button shirts if they can help it. Use more like a bigger zipper pulls, or use a paper clip, use Velcro, cinched waists more that you don't even need to tie. There's all those kind of options when we're looking at different things. And so what can we do? What can we do to help people with that? And I think we're getting a good thing on here. So good shoes, having them find good shoes, larger pens, like all kinds of options. Okay. So, and then that's what I would probably put here too, larger, maybe I put get larger items to make things easier to handle. Okay, so the smaller things are, the harder that would be. Okay, I'm hoping this makes sense. And then what I'd like you to do is you're just going to do a general thing for each of the other ones. And it really is. Just this amount of information is good. Okay, try not to get much less than this though, or this might lose a little bit. But just each thing. And if you find like a good setup and you're like, oh my gosh, Mayo Clinic has the best stuff on here. The setup's so nice. Look for that. Like I'm going to look back. I find Mayo Clinic to be actually a pretty good place. Let's look quick for arthritis and see what it looks like. Yeah, it gives an overview, which the overview is going to give a nice, like, here's your quick, what it is. It's your definition. Okay, diagnosis and treatment. So this is how they diagnose it. You don't need to know anything about that. You're not writing anything. Treatments are different medications, do therapies, do surgeries for different things. Okay, this could be like an option that you could help and bring them to, but it's not giving you as much. Like my thought is treatment, like what's the self-care, and like lifestyle home remedies. This could maybe like this, the lifestyle home remedies might be stuff that you can encourage with. Okay, so that could be a good option of things to put. Okay, so I'm hoping that makes sense. If not, reach out and I can help you with some of that. And then you're going to scroll down, do the same thing. There's just a little tiny section with mental health, and I just did one for depression, and then just isolation. For people that are elderly, it can be really common that they don't have anybody that lives by them. That it can actually just be there, and not just to help them, but just for companionship, and I have someone to talk to. Okay, and then I want you to make sure when you're done with that, answer the questions below, and after the tables, which this is now, Again, after looking at the aging notes, putting those in. So go back to your notes and just kind of keep looking at some of these things you need. So just things that's looking at things that influences. Coping with, you don't need to do that. That's just for my in-person one. We're doing that separately on our own. Ways to enhance sense of self in elderly are different things to do. And then things an advocate can provide informally are going to be things that are on here as well. Oops, wrong thing. Okay, so number 4, out of the ailments or issues, which one do you think would be the most difficult for you to deal with? So you're going to go through the isolation, the depression, Parkinson's, stroke, Alzheimer's, or a different dementia type. You can focus on any one that you want. Visual impairments, diabetes, hearing impairments, heart disease, and arthritis. So out of all those things, what kind of scares you the most that you're like, that would be the hardest for me? And then the next one is, how do you think you will cope and adapt as you encounter losses with age? Because like, I'm hoping we all get to a nice ripe old age, okay? Because the alternative is that we aren't alive, right? And we hopefully want to get to there as healthy as we can for as long as we can. But a lot of us are going to have to like deal with some of these things, and sometimes multiple of them. So after you've learned some of these, how to help support, and you've been researching, what are some of the things that you're kind of like, oh, I'm seeing this pop up over and over again. This might be a good thing to do to help cope with a lot of those pieces. Okay. And then the last pieces are the ways to enhance sense of self. So this is just from your notes. So ways to enhance, and just get those down. Something to be thinking about when you're working on that. And then things an advocate can provide informally. So that means an advocate is someone that helps you, that you are there to support that person. And so, and some of you might have like grandparents or family friends or that are elderly, and just be thinking about what can I actually do to help them, because it's hard. And this is just like a really short way to do that. So you just get that information in and be thinking of it. And then your last piece of thing that you need to do for this is create art for the elderly. Normally in class, we do this in class, and it's just fun, and it's a nice way to just be creative. I think that is just it's kind of a good thing for everybody. So what I want you to do is create a piece of art or decorate like a greeting card for an elderly person. Once completed, take a picture, insert it in the box, and then answer the questions below. It does not have to be like this grand piece of artwork. I get a lot of times people are like, I don't have time. You can make something simple in like 15 minutes. And if it looks like, if you're like, oh my gosh, this is not good, they're not going to care. They really aren't. And maybe they'll just think it's a little kid that made it. Who knows if it's really not good. But it's just something for you to be artistic with. And so just on a piece of paper, you can do a drawing. You can do, like, if you're like, oh my gosh, I just cannot think what to draw, you could color like a coloring page at the bare minimum. Make sure it's not super, super easy, that you're done in like 2 seconds or even just 5 minutes. Have it take a little longer than that. But you could do different things like that. And then just write it to them. If you have a grandparent, feel free to give it to them. If you just have an elderly person, give it to them. I mean, there's no way for me to track that, but I just hope that you would. It can make a person's day that just normally isn't getting that stuff anymore. Normally in class, I let people bring them home to like family if they want to, but then I collect the rest, and then we bring them to like a senior living center or a nursing home. And it just is a nice way for them to hang something up and brighten their day, and like someone gave them something, which is really good. And then you just have your art questions and who you plan to give it to and what impact you think would have on the person. So how do you think they'd respond? What do you think they'd feel with that? Okay, so this will be the next few days. So at least, I don't even know, going into next week and the week after, because we have a short week next week. So don't stress. Our last day of school, or our last day, or maybe even the second day, who knows, the second to last day, I don't know when I'll put it in there, but I'll probably be like a Google form, or it'll be in like a summative like test kind of format. Just make sure you do that. It's nothing you actually need to like study for, but stuff that you just fill out at that point. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful week. Please contact me. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye-bye.